Welcome, Bill. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You've already got some fans here, obviously. I can tell.
Yes. We brought a few from New Jersey with me.
Cool.
Yes.
Good. So let's just get to it. It's ironic, I guess, that your connection to that school in Mississippi was because of your role in 9/11. You went down to Mississippi. You built that playground, and that lit a spark in some way, right?
Yes.
If I can say that to a firefighter.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. 9/11 was the singular moment in my life and many others. And that tragedy, fortunately, there was a lot of triumphs that were born from that tragedy.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, all those lives, our brothers and sisters that we lost there, and that was a devastating time. But to have third grade children reach out to us and, they didn't know us, and they inspired us and got us through a very difficult time. So it became a pay it forward. We, after their tragedy, we went down to Mississippi, built not one but three of the first handicap accessible playgrounds for those children. And then,
and this was after Hurricane Katrina.
After Hurricane Katrina,
Yeah.
the very school where those beautiful letters and pictures came from was destroyed in that storm.
Wild.
So the whole story is a pay it forward. Mm-hmm. We had our storm years later, Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we were feeling sorry for ourselves because many of us had lost homes and personal items. And it really wasn't until the tragedy of Sandy Hook Elementary School where 20 children, first graders, and 6 educators were gunned down, where I could hear my mom tell me the quote that she used to give me when I was a kid, and that was, if you threw your problems in a pile with everyone else's, you would fight to get yours back. And it resonated with me, and so all of the angels from 9/11 and from the tragedies and from Sandy Hook really are the ones are speaking to this audience here tonight through me, and are responsible for all the good works that are happening in their name.
The spirit of all the people who lost their lives in those tragedies. That's what you mean.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And Helen was talking a little bit before about the importance in childhood development of play and having an opportunity to play. Is that something you were aware of before? Is that something you just kind of happened on, or?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, we were criticized by some who would say, people need homes and roofs put on, and why a playground? Seems so trivial to some. But we found out that the playground was more than just a place for kids to play. It was a symbol of hope. It was a place where they could be kids. And actually, the mom and dad of Aviel, one of the children that was killed in Newtown, are scientists. And they schooled me by telling me that every mammal, from a tiny little mouse to a whale, they must play as children and as adolescents, and it develops them. So we didn't know that at the time, but it clearly has made all the difference.
Wild. So you embarked on this pay it forward, as you say, by going back down to Mississippi and building not 1 but 3 playgrounds, including handicap accessible playgrounds. Did you think that it would continue after that, or did you think you were done?
Well, we did. We thought it was a pretty cool project, very rewarding at the time. And
your fellow firefighters were helping you make this happen?
Absolutely. I was involved with the labor union, so my job was to argue with the governor and with mayors and legislators over things very important to us, safety and pensions and benefits and staffing and all those things. So I was really, mired in my own misery. And it wasn't until these tragedies happened that I realized I've been blessed, right? A lot of us are blessed. The Shook twins mentioned about being blessed, and it resonated with me because I've always been blessed. I didn't always know it.
Yeah.
So it was a thrill to be involved in that project, and that lit the fire for playgrounds for the Newtown children. And each and every one of those 26 angels has a playground in their honor.
Oh, wild. So you had then, after 3, you recognized that you had more work to do, and you felt like that was a good number. 26 playgrounds was going to be your total.
Right. Well, we thought that would be it, and it would take us 5 to 10 years. And in 19 months and $3 million later, and people, sending money from lemonade stands and across the country, a very grassroots effort, and kids, and all walks of life contributed to that. And I found it to be just amazing that folks wanted to be a part of something tangible that was good. And you mentioned our politics. And if there's a time where we're divided and polarized in our nation, it's now. And here's an opportunity. We don't care whether you're an R or a D or a volunteer or a career or labor or management. We care that you care about kids and happiness and bringing joy.
Yeah.
And everyone's welcome.
Yeah. It sounds like a big project too, because it's if my math is right, it's about $100K each or something like that for.
Yes, each playground, roughly give or take, is about $100,000 to do. We are going to break ground in May on our 50th playground.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's been remarkable.
Wow. Now, do you hear from communities, kids, schools, neighborhoods where you've done this work that it's made a difference?
Absolutely. It raises the community up. You know, places who were hit by storms and tornadoes and tragedies are lifted up by the spirit of these angels. And what really sustains us the most, we knew after our fourth playground that we were onto something when the father of Dylan Hockley, Ian, texted me and he said, "Today is Dylan's birthday." And I didn't know whether to go to church or to the cemetery or where to go. He says, and I decided to go to the playground. He says, when I got there were 30 children. And the one thing about playgrounds is there's happiness, there's joy. And he said, thank you for giving me a place to go
that's cool.
to honor my child. And we knew from that point that it was more than just, you know, firefighters getting together and throwing together a playground and moving on. It had so much more healing and joy to it.
Right.
Yep.
I'm also trying to imagine, Bill, your fellow firefighters and others that you got involved in this project, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're going to do another and another and another and another and another and another and another.
Yeah.
And they still have jobs and families and they got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But did they all stuck with you and they kept going and you got more people to help? And
incredibly, my biggest problem is having enough work for all of the volunteers who want to come and do this work, and that is just the truth. That's
wild.
It's something you don't read about, but they thought I was crazy when I said we were going to build 26 playgrounds. And then when I said we were going to go to Canada, they thought I was crazy. And then most recently, in maybe one of the poorest communities in the world, in Kibeho, Rwanda, Africa, we were able to build a playground there. Wow. And who knows? And now I'm talking to, in your words, 1 million folks. The firefighters who I worked with every day will bust me about that and say, that... I do, and I have to say, I have the opportunity to be the spokesperson, and I'm literally just a tiny piece of an amazing organization that is Where Angels Play. There's a book, Where Angels Live, Work, and Play, written by my son and I. My daughter is out in the audience, and my wife, they are my boss, and they run the show. The McGourdys and the Zanatich that nominated me for this. I know it says Bill Lavin on it, but it's really the families of the angels that I come here and I speak to you about today.
That's cool, Bill. Let me ask you: I'm sure there's a website if people want to get more information.
Yes,
Where Angels Play.
Where Angels Play Foundation.org, and they can go and see where we're going.
No apostrophe in there. No, Where Angels Play Foundation.org.
Right, all one word. And
how many kids do you think have benefited from the work you've done so far?
Tens of thousands, maybe. I'm not sure, maybe 1 million. I do know that the families take great pride in the fact that their angels have touched the hearts of children 7,000 miles away in Africa, and it just continues to grow. And thank you to eTown and to an organization like this that gives us an opportunity to grow it even further and to talk about good for a change instead of topics that divide us.
Well, thanks, Bill. Yeah. I just also want to mention that I think we've developed an interest in bad news. I think we've all developed kind of an interest in and maybe it's a natural thing that the human nature kind of whether there's a tragedy or there's something, you can't help but slow down to look at the car wreck. Or I don't know what it is, it's in our nature that is drawn to that, but it's become so pervasive that I just want to thank you for very literally taking the reaction to tragedy and turning it into something so positive and so uplifting for so many, including those who are directly affected by these tragedies. So it's a very cool story, and hopefully we can all have our vision shifted just a little bit to aim a little more in this direction about what's working, what's growing out of the sort of destruction and devastation of these horrible acts. So thank you for doing the work you're doing.
Thank you. And I spoke with Helen about this. You're in the same business of bringing good news to the world. People are starving for it. They want to turn on and hear a story that they can sink their teeth into, and it's something good for a change. And cool. We all know depending on the cable news network you listen to, I can tell you where your opinion is on politics, but I promise those who want to get involved in building a playground for children and honoring the legacy of these beautiful people, they'll never forget it. And it's just a privilege, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. That's all.
Congratulations, Bill. So good. Thanks
Thank you.
so much for sharing your story. That's Bill Lavin. The organization is called Where Angels Play. The website is whereangelsplayfoundation.org. You can go there, you can see photographs, you can make contributions, you can sign up, you can volunteer. Where Angels Play. Congratulations, this week's eChievement Award winner, Mr. Bill Lavin. Hi, this is Nick Forster from eTown. If you want to stay up to date with all the performances, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage, click the subscribe button. Thanks.